What makes the Leica M experience special? Post World War II, a small factory in Wetzlar, Germany, made a timeless design that would define photography for decades, the Leica M body. Not only is it the weapon of choice for some of the world's most respected and influential photographers, it has also become a trendy accessory for amateurs and celebrities like Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, or even the Queen. And then there is me, just sitting there, looking cool, with roughly about an $8,000 Leica M11, which probably doesn't even take better photos than any other camera. Like, seriously, which one of these images was taken on a Leica? So today, I want to share my first-hand experience shooting on a Leica M rangefinder camera during my time in Europe, and why I feel this process of using a rangefinder design ironically matters more than the photos themselves. Let's jump right into it. Today's video is brought to you by the Outdoor Photography Guide. Okay guys, so this all started when I got the opportunity to trade in my Hasselblad X2D for a polished silver brass Leica M11. And this camera is just beautiful. You really don't have any button or dial that ruins the aesthetic, minimal but timeless design. Now, this M11 looks small and compact, but it actually has some weight to it, and that's thanks to the solid polished brass top plate and the full leather wrap, which results in a premium feeling camera. So this concludes that Leica cameras are built to last with premium materials, which tend to class these cameras above the rest. But that's not the reason for the cult following and the hyped Leica experience. This experience comes down to how Leica to this day relies on mechanical components over electronic. And there is definitely something about the organic and pure experience of doing things manually in photography. I personally feel the more automated and electronic photography is going, it's becoming more distracting and results in less authentic images. I feel like removing these distractions makes you more aware as a photographer, and you start to observe different scenes, lighting, and just how people are interacting in their everyday lives in their environment. Leica has maintained this mechanical philosophy, so on an M body, it's manual focus only, and the way to focus is using what's called a rangefinder patch. Inside the camera, a tiny metal cam on the lens pushes a roller linked to the rangefinder mechanism. That movement travels through a series of levers, mirrors, and prisms, shifting the focus patch in the viewfinder, and when the two images line up, the lens is precisely focused. And this definitely makes you feel a part of the process and gives you satisfaction of feeling the mechanical linkages. And there's no argument that a true rangefinder is the best manual focus experience that you'll ever get. It's super easy to use, but also incredibly fast and accurate. And I can confidently say that after using this camera for about 6 weeks or so, I feel like this system has almost eliminated my need for autofocus. I do say almost, as I do have one caveat that I'll explain later in today's video. Now, with a rangefinder, you're not actually seeing through the lens. You kind of estimate your framing with frame lines that is surprisingly actually very accurate. Also guys, just a real quick side note, you can use the live view on the LCD screen. It works great, but I have been told off by a few Leica enthusiasts for doing this. Don't ask guys, it must be a Leica thing. Okay, so I personally have always been quite skeptical about Leica cameras. I personally felt that having something with a higher build quality or used as a luxury fashion accessory, I just could never justify that price tag. But after actually using a Leica camera, I realized it's not just about the status or the luxury, it's about the appreciation of history and the satisfaction of being involved in every single step on making an image. It's definitely quirky, you're definitely gonna miss shots because you're fumbling around with setting your focus, for example, but it's also fun. it makes photography fun, and that's why I think you would buy or try one of these cameras. But I've definitely had my challenges using this camera, not just because of user error, but I've had my fair shares of difficulties that I want to share, and also why in Europe I tend to pick up this camera over my Leica M11. But first, if you're into outdoor or landscape photography, and honestly you watch this channel, you probably are, you're going to love today's sponsor, which is the Outdoor Photography Guide. The Outdoor Photography Guide is basically an online library packed with video lessons on everything from composition, lighting, seascapes and wildlife, to even night photography and post-processing. It's like having a group of pro photographers walk you through the techniques step by step, super easy to follow, and actually keeps you inspired to get out and shoot. They're always adding new videos and live events too, so you can keep learning and even connect with other photographers in the community. And right now, the first 1,000 people to click the link down below get a full year of premium membership for only $1.49. It's for new members only, so jump on it while it lasts. There's a link at the top of the description and in the pinned comment. So thank you to the Outdoor Photography Guide for sponsoring and providing today's video. So one of my biggest issues with my Leica M11 is that for whatever reason, my eyes cannot see the 35mm frame lines. And I've been told by you guys here on Instagram that I can buy a very expensive diopter that will fix this issue. And this will allow me to see wider focal length frame lines like a 28 and my 35mm. So I'm currently in Porto in Portugal, and I'm just going to go down the road to the Leica store, buy this very expensive diopter, and I might even look at some 50mm lenses depending on the price.
Are you closed today?
Yeah, only tomorrow. You'll be here tomorrow.
So the store was closed, and I didn't realize the cost of a little bit of glass could be that high. Even when you buy third party or second hand, it's still pretty expensive considering how cheap reading glasses can be. And like reading glasses, you need to know the magnification, so you really do need to go to a Leica store to find that out. In Europe, I was mainly using this 35mm f2.5 Voigtlander lens, which does work great with a 61 megapixel sensor on the M11. You can crop for days, so I didn't really need a longer focal length, but that definitely wasn't the main reason I didn't use this Leica M11 as much as I would like while I was in Europe. And I definitely caught myself reaching for this Fujifilm X-E5 much more. And the first reason is, I'm just going to gloss over it as it most likely doesn't affect you guys, is that the M11 does not have video at all. It's a pure photography camera that I truly respect and appreciate that, but as someone who makes video here online, I need to bring two cameras to film stuff with. But in saying this, technically yes, the Leica M11 absolutely could shoot video if Leica wanted it to. Next is portraits. I have seen some incredible work of other photographers using a Leica M body for portrait images, and my hat really goes off to them, as I have found it very challenging to shoot fast and accurate with my M11 for portrait images. I've found when you frame a composition at 10 meters to infinity, the frame lines match well, but when you start working at close distances like portraits, what you think your composition is in the frame lines is quite different to the resulted image. I assume this is a parallax issue that you need to get used to, or just be content that your composition will constantly be off. That's definitely a personal preference, but guys, the main reason why I didn't use this camera as much as I would like is I feel that when I walk around with this camera, I just feel like a target. You get a lot of attention carrying this camera around. It's nice that other fellow photographers will stop and say things like, hey, that's a nice camera, etc. But I feel getting this camera stolen is another thing. Getting any camera stolen sucks. It recently just happened to one of my friends, but losing a camera that's valued at this much for me just gives me too much anxiety walking around with a camera like this on display. So this resulted for me not taking as many photos as I wanted to, as I had the camera hidden away in my Sling majority of the time. Or there were just times that I couldn't just get into the flow of photography, as I was kind of always just looking over my shoulder or just being aware of other people, etc. Alright guys, so I don't want to leave this video on a negative note, so let's talk about the image quality. The photos do edit well, and I use the Adobe color profile in Lightroom so I can get a very similar to identical look to my Sony, Fujifilm or Nikon files. If you do like the way that I edit my photos to emulate this nostalgic film look, definitely check out my Lightroom presets, which are linked here or in the description down below. As you can see, they work on all camera brands, so Leica included, and sign up to my photography newsletter for a discount code. So owning a Leica camera has really been an honor and a dream come true. As much as I do love using this camera and as much as I do love the look of this camera, I just don't think it's for me. I just think that for me, when I go and take travel photos, I don't really need 60 megapixels, as majority of these photos are just for fun. And when I go out with friends to take street photography mainly, I just don't want to think about losing a camera like this. So definitely watch this space if I decide to sell this camera. Most likely I will trade it in or sell it at some stage. And if you do want to see me produce a video on the Fujifilm X-E5, I do have a review coming out on this camera shortly, so definitely subscribe for that. And if you do want to know what I recommend is the best retro looking modern camera to buy, definitely go watch this video on the Nikon ZF. If you're not going to watch this video right now, definitely subscribe, like this video, and maybe jump off social media. Grab whatever camera you have and go take some photos, and we will see you next time. Enjoy guys. Thanks for watching.